Senator Warnock, you're next.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Many of my colleagues here today represent states that are at high risk for large-scale wildfires. The wildfires are not limited to the West. Atlanta is known as the city in the forest because of the city's dense tree canopy, and about 2/3 of Georgia is covered with forests, putting it at risk for wildfires. In fact, the National Interagency Fire Center predicts Georgia and much of the Southeast will be at above average risk for wildfires over the next couple of months. In the last week alone, Georgia has seen over 4,000 acres burned, and neighboring South Carolina's governor declared a state of emergency due to wildfires. Mr. Bem, what are some of the contributing factors that are increasing Georgia's wildfire risk?
Thank you for the question, Senator. You know, our weather patterns are certainly contributing to the wildfire risk. What we're seeing right now in the Carolinas, what we saw in Georgia, we saw at Gatlinburg, there's a number of things that were really quite frankly shocking. I worked in the South for a number of years and didn't anticipate those type of fires happening in the South, and they do. And climate change, probably a factor. There's a number of factors to that. And in addition, the lengthening of the season, again, we don't really refer to fire seasons anymore, it's a fire year.
Right. I think climate change is clearly a contributing factor not only to wildfires. I can tell you something else that climate change is clearly causing is more frequent, larger, and stronger hurricanes. Last fall, Hurricane Helene ravaged the Southeast, including Georgia. I remember spending time on the ground with folks who had lost everything. Helene paved a path of destruction all the way from the bottom of the state to the top, taking down 8.9 million acres of timber with it. Mr. Bem, can you describe the increased fire risk fallen trees from stronger storms create?
Yes, Senator, thank you for the question. So anytime we have trees falling in the forest like that, they will start to decay, and you get a fire through there, and they will contribute to the intensity of that fire. In the South, that might take a year for those trees to dry out and be a large woody fuel for a fire, but regardless, that's a significant increased fire risk in the state because of the hurricane.
So given that risk, how important is swift cleanup?
Very important, sir.
And I asked that question because at this time of increased wildfires risk across the Southeast, the Trump administration is firing the very workers who are responsible for mitigating that risk through storm cleanup and proper forest management. Will these firings help or hurt Georgia's ability to mitigate wildfire risk?
As I stated earlier, sir, they will absolutely hurt the ability for Georgia to mitigate the fire risk.
I agree, and I think we need legislation to require our federal agencies take on more responsibility to address wildfires. But if Congress does not provide them with proper resources and adequate staffing, we're not setting them up for success. I look forward to working with my colleagues to address these shortfalls as we work towards a comprehensive wildfire strategy bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And I would add just one piece that through the bipartisan infrastructure law and the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed in previous Congresses, the infusion to the Forest Service was generational money to address wildfire mitigation. Even so, $5 billion, north of $5 billion, that is a down payment in what's really needed. And I don't even know what the figure might be, 20 billion, 30 billion.
It's an important point, especially since there are efforts right now in Congress to take that back.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Warnock. Senator